Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. It's time to look ahead to the best bets of the divisional round of the playoffs. And don't forget, come this Saturday, once again, Scott Bogman, Joe Pisapia will be live right here on the channel, giving you all they possibly can in-game live betting. Chiefs, Texans, right here. Again, subscribe to the channel. 4:15 Eastern, we're going to kick things off before the actual kickoff. We're going to talk about our best bets for that game. We're going to take you through the whole first half of that game, have some fun, hang out with us, ring the bell till it goes ding so you don't miss a second of our in-game live betting special. Again, back by popular demand because everybody enjoyed themselves so much. And I guess Bogman and I have in our contracts, we're only doing Texans games, but we're going to break down the Texans Chiefs. We're going to break down all four games here with my two best buds, Terrell Furman Jr., and of course, the Undertaker himself, Andrew Erickson. Terrell, before we get going, I just want to ask you one more time. I understand maybe you thought it was an anomaly a couple weeks ago, but after the Ravens, once again, covered my spread, have you finally come to join me on the island where the relevance lives? Because right now, it looks like the Ravens are playing the best football of anybody.
I wouldn't say the best football out of anybody just because that boy Patrick Mahomes is still in the league and he and Andy Reid got something special going on over there. But I am very, very pro Lamar. I thought it was comical how all season Dan Orlovsky and all these other talking heads were trying to tell me that Josh Allen just wrapped up the MVP in a loss and blah, 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 blah. And here we are. Lamar Jackson is first team. He's the favorite to be MVP, the perennial MVP, it looks like. I have no quarrels with Lamar Jackson looking good. You know what? Sometimes Tomlin as a dog fails you, but it's a system. You got to play the system to stay relevant. If you start picking and choosing, that's when you start losing. You just got to play the system. So I would take Tomlin as a dog 10 times out of 10, and I wouldn't question it.
All right. Well, I would say maybe 98 out of 100, those two times where they play the Ravens. Maybe you shouldn't do that anymore going forward because it's a different caliber team. Andrew Erickson, any other takeaways and lessons from last week that you want to bring into our divisional round discussion today?
No, I just think, one of the things I'm trying to do better at is when you think you're right about something in the beginning of the season and then you end up not being right, but then it ends up being correct at the end of the season. Going back to the entire Steelers schedule, right? First half of the year, they had 0 divisional games. 0. And then what happens at the end of the year? They fall apart because they have to play all these divisional games. so I'm just like, I knew this going into the year. I knew the second half was tough and I still convinced myself, the Steelers got it. Like this is going to be their year. Like Tom was going to win Coach of the Year. They're going to get out of mediocrity, and couldn't be farther from the truth.
I think it's hilarious that so many Steelers fans, like everywhere, are calling for Mike Tomlin's job like this isn't a 5-win team without that coach. I think that's the funniest part of all of this for me is that every single year this happens and every single year they call for his job. And it's like, you Steelers fans, y'all don't know what the bottom is like. Come over here and figure out what it's like in New York and you'll see what the bottom is like. You have no idea what the bottom is like.
I don't think anyone's saying Mike Tomlin's not a good coach, but Andy Reid at a certain
point in Philadelphia. It's actually people saying to Mike Tomlin.
Well, that's just stupid. Mike Tomlin is a good football coach, but at the same time,
doesn't have a quarterback.
There comes a certain point. He doesn't have a quarterback, but also, there's also, I think, a certain time where maybe the message just starts to fall flat. I mean, Andy Reid is the perfect example because Andy Reid was always a good football coach. He won a ton in Philadelphia, got them to the championship game every year, and it just eventually fell flat, and he needed
because he didn't have a quarterback.
That's because he had Donovan McNabb for a long time, and then when he didn't, things got rough.
To the Commanders, or at the time a different team name. But this happens with all these coaches. Bill Belichick, why is he not on the Patriots anymore? Because he lost Tom Brady.
Yeah, but you know what? This one's on to a certain extent Tomlin, because he could have said, look, we're going to take this year to really evaluate a young quarterback and give him every opportunity to be the guy next year. And instead they tried to win.
They did that with Kenny Pickett and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's because they're never going to have a top 10 pick because they keep winning all these games. So it's like they either have to do the Titans thing where they're going to fire Tomlin like they fired Vrabel, get the number 1 pick, and then restart. But do the Steelers really want to do that?
Everyone's going to have to subscribe for the extra Mike Tomlin podcast we're going to do later in the week. So we're going to instead shift gears here.
Guy Tomlin.
I love Mike Tomlin. I just think maybe it's best for everybody to move along and just change the scenery. Sometimes it's just good for people.
Come on to New York then. Hey, if y'all get rid of him, come on to New York. Please come to New York.
100%.
Chiefs, the Giants, not the Jets.
Chiefs, Texans. Fun fact, I just saw this on the internet. Chiefs 0-2 at 4:30 games, 8-0 in all games that are another start time. I don't know if that they care about this little statistic. It's fun. Terrell, let's start with you, your favorite bets for this game, because I do believe in the Chiefs. That's why I bet them in the beginning of the year, and that's why I doubled down on them in midway through the season. That, there's a reason they keep winning football games. So let's talk about your favorite way to approach this one, because I know Andrew, I think, is going to be on the other side. So it'll be a really good argument, counter argument. Let's start here with the Chiefs Texans. Go.
Oh, it's super easy here, man. You trust Patrick Mahomes when we get to playoff time. Like, this is literally what they've been waiting for the entirety of the whole season. And I understand the other side of the argument and hey, they've been one score games, one score games, one score games. The Texans covered this number last time they played, but this is something completely different. This is the playoffs. This is what they've been waiting for. They've literally coasted through the entire season to get to this point. And I think this is when Andy Reid opens up the playbook. All of those plays that you wish you would have saw where, hey, 3rd and short, 4th and short, do we convert? Do we go for it? All that. Oh, Andy Reid's 100% all systems go here in this game. And then the defense and the offensive line for the Texans. I just can't get past the offensive line. I don't think they looked good in that game last week against the Chargers. I think it was the inability of Justin Herbert, and who is quote unquote a starting quarterback in the league and one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. Well, he went out there and struggled against this Texans defense. I don't think that's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I think that the defensive line for the Chiefs is going to get home. Chris Jones, Karlaftis, everybody is going to be all over CJ Stroud. And that's where you get the CJ Stroud that we've seen over the course of the entire season. When you get pressure in his face, you force him to get rid of the ball early, you force him to make decisions earlier than he wants to, and it looks really, really rough. They don't have Tech Dell this time around. They're missing so I think that Nico Collins and Joe Mixon, all of that, that's fine. That's okay. It's not enough. It's not enough. I think that the Chiefs win this, and I think the Chiefs win this going away, and this is the game. This is the game where they sit here and say, hey, all right, we're going to show y'all. We don't have to play these one-score games. When it matters, and we're going to go out here and dominate this team. I don't think the Texans are coming anywhere even close to this spread. I love Chiefs plus 8.5. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to score the ball at all against this Chiefs defense when they're absolutely locked in. I think the receivers are going to have struggle getting with separation against the secondary outside of Nico Collins. So, yeah, it's it for me. It's just going to be Chiefs laying 8.5. And I actually like the Texans team total under 16.5 as well.
All right, so the Chiefs are flipping the switch, according to Terrell, which I kind of agree with that. Like, I'm kind of there, but the Chiefs also have not put teams away all year either, and the Texans did play them very tough. Now, I will say, a very emotional week last week at home. Defense played inspired football, so as much as I'm worried about the Texans' offensive line and the Chiefs' defense, I am a little bit worried too, because that Texans defense very good. Andrew, let's make the counter argument here, because you are on the side of the points with the Texans. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, because the Chiefs will probably win, but they don't beat teams by more than a touchdown. Like, are they just like, oh, now it's the playoffs and now we're going to blow teams out? Is that really, why is that the mindset? It's just win the game. Like, why does it now to be, we have to blow teams out? Did they blow teams out
because we're not leaving it the chance. We're not leaving it the chance this time.
Did they blow out teams in the playoffs last year? I don't think so. Not that I remember. So look, the Chiefs, when the spread is 6.5 points or more, they're 1-6 against the spread this year. They've covered a game one time when they've been favored by more than 6.5 points. This game, this spread in the exact same matchup was 3.5 points for the Chiefs. So, now it's in the playoffs. Okay, we're going to give the Chiefs 5 extra points against the same exact team when their defense is playing better. I don't get it. I think it's too many points. So give me the Texans plus 8.5. The Texans traditionally and historically, this is the best spot for them when they're road underdogs. 11, 6, and 1 against the spread. I like this spot for the
cold weather. Cold weather, dome team going outside. They already covered this. That's not
so like all the things I already did when they faced the Chiefs earlier this year.
But that wasn't the playoffs, and this Texans team looks significantly worse than they did when they placed the Chiefs that point in the season. Like they are significantly worse. CJ Stroud does not look like that guy. I don't think their defense is
worse. See, the thing I mentioned this to Joe earlier in the show when talking about these are the exact same 4 teams that were in the AFC playoffs last year. So if I would have told you preseason, it's going to be the Texans and the Chiefs in the divisional round, you'd be like, oh, CJ Stroud had a great second year, right? Like that's what people would think. But just because the path has been different, they've gotten here because of their defense and not their offense. I just don't think they're getting enough credit for getting this far. Again, they're playing with house money. They were supposed to lose against the Chargers at home last week, and now they have this elite pass rush. This is where upsets come from. This is how you dethrone the Super Bowl champions, is with a pass rush. I've seen it before. We saw it with the games played this wild card weekend. It was all the teams that could generate pass rush that were able to upset those better teams. Now, again, I don't think that Chiefs are going to lose at home, but by more than a touchdown, something that they have yet to do at all any point this season, yeah, I'll wait to see it. So I'll take the Texans.
All right, that's for everybody else to decide now watching the show. I will say this. I like the Chiefs to win. I think 8.5 is just a lot right now from the way the Chiefs have played. I think it's very possible the range of outcomes, though, that Terrell's talking about, where the Chiefs just come out and with the extra week Andy Reid has to prepare, they blow the doors off the Texans.
19-11. Shout out to the 19-11 ATS. Andy Reid is with extra time to prepare.
And that number is probably, something that we should all pay very close attention to.
And how many of those spreads are by 8.5 points?
We'll figure it out.
Well,
it doesn't
it's
matter.
not time to do that live on the show. So we're going to have to go.
They're going to roll this team. They're going to roll them.
All right, here we go. Let's go to game number 2. I think the guys might have a little bit more agreement on this one. I'm just saying. The Washington Commanders are going to go to Detroit. Commanders, a great story this year. Jaden Daniels, a terrific season. This is already so far and away a win for the Commanders, not just even getting to the playoffs and then having a win in the playoffs on the road. Now you're going to go and play the best team in the NFC. So look, let's just all stand up, slow clap for the Commanders because they've been tremendous this year. But this is where the fairy tale ends. I think we all agree. This is it. This is where, the pumpkin comes back. Cinderella loses the shoe. This is when, all that stuff goes south. So how are we approaching this? This is what matters here. I do believe, especially with Montgomery back, that this is going to be one, Terrell, where the Lions really control this football game from start to finish in a lot of ways. And you're going to see, okay, this is the measuring stick now for the Washington Commanders going forward. Okay, if we're going to compete in the NFC, this is where we have to bring our game up to. And I just don't think they're ready for that yet. However, what is your approach to betting this game? Because it is a 9.5 point spread.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions team total over 32.5. I know it sounds like a lot, but this Lions offense is just out of this world in scoring points, even with the defense and being able to add defensive and special teams touchdowns as well. Like they've constantly been able to put up points against basically everybody. And I mean, this is a Commanders defense that plays a lot of man. Jared Goff eats that up. Amon-Ra St. Brown can't be guarded. And he's got the revenge angle because guess who the Commanders took over? Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had a touchdown last week. Diami Brown, he knows his name. He knows when he was drafted. He's 100% going off in this game. So let's just go ahead and load up on Amon-Ra St. Brown for this playoff game. He's going off. This is going to be all Lions in terms of scoring. Now, the only reason I didn't take the spread is because I am tired of Cardiac Daniels coming in the fourth quarter and just saying,
talked about it last week. Talking about last week, man. I mean,
touchdowns. Hey, I was on the wrong side of that one. Completely on the wrong side of that one. Cardiac Daniels.
I did give you the stat last week, though. I did give it to you. I served it to you, hoping you would like to eat it, and you didn't. Instead, you said, "No, thank you. I'm gonna have this Subway sandwich." That's what you decided.
I had my fill of the Rams, and that was it. Nothing else. I didn't want to eat anything else last week. I only wanted to eat the Rams, so that was it. But yeah, no, there's no way that
I like the team total, though. I like your approach.
I can sit there and really, really feel good, especially if this gets to be ugly and Jaden Daniels just gets a whole bunch of garbage time to kind of come back. And I mean, 7-point loss is still a loss. So I don't want anything to do with the spread, but I do think the team total is good. I think they can get over 32.5.
There's two things that worry me the most about the Commanders in this game. And one of them is what they do on the ground in terms of giving up yardage. 23-37. That's third most yards to the ground given up this year by a defense. So the ability of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to just literally run amok on this team. And then on top of that, the Dan Campbell philosophy of, we're going to grind out, and that they're not going to have the same kind of problems that you saw Tampa have, which is sloppiness with the football, sloppiness with the counts. Ben Johnson has this offense very tight. The continuity is very strong with these players, and their execution is really good. So where Tampa gave them opportunities last week, I don't see the Lions doing that to the Washington Commanders. Therefore, I'm with Terrell, though. I kind of like let's just look at the Lions to put up the points here and not worry too much about all the other stuff there. Maybe that is the best approach. But let's talk about your approach here to this game here. Lions, Commanders, what's your thoughts as we head into the weekend?
I'm taking the Lions -9.5. Again, the Lions do one thing, and it's cover the spread. That's what they do. It doesn't matter what the number is. They have destroyed teams at home, unlike the Kansas City Chiefs, who, if I'm going to lay a big number, it's not with the Chiefs. I will take it with the Detroit Lions playing at home against the Commanders, who have failed to cover the spread 7 of their last 11 games against teams with a winning record. Yes, they won outright last week against Tampa Bay. A lot of that was Tampa Bay. A couple self-inflicted things. Again, I like the Commanders last week, so but I definitely felt like I got bailed out on a couple opportunities with the way that Tampa Bay played. But Tampa Bay had also been messing around in Week 18 and they almost lost to the Saints. Like the Lions have never been that team at any point this season, especially in the second half. They're getting Dave Montgomery back. Terrell Arnold's coming back too. So I think that this is the Lions going away and they're stamping their ticket to the NFC Championship game.
All right, before we get to the Sunday games, a quick reminder, now is a great time to join our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. If you're looking to up your sports betting experience, join our exclusive sports betting Discord community. Again, at bettingpros.com/chat, you get free picks from expert handicappers, and you can connect with fellow bettors and elevate your strategies and insights with the pros. And that is the perfect thing to do this time of year, considering NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, college championship around the corner, NHL, NBA. It's all going down for you, an NFL draft right around the corner too. So bettingpros.com/chat. Join our community on our Discord today. Moving on to Sunday. This is the game where I feel like if one's going to go sideways, this is the one. Because the last time we saw the Rams and Eagles, Saquon Barkley was running for 4,000 yards in a game. It was crazy. It was nuts. But Sean McVay's had a lot of time now to marinate on that. And now he's got a second shot at it. And good coaches tend to figure out some mistakes. The Rams defense playing much better down the stretch here. However, still a team that can give up points at times. The Eagles continue to be the dysfunctional Eagles. They're on a weird page with each other. But Terrell, in terms of approach for this game, you want to go to a side or you want to go to a total?
I can't say anything bad about the Eagles because everybody's just going to come out here and say I'm a hater and I'm stuck on being a Giants fan and the Giants suck and all this other stuff about the Giants sucking that have nothing to do with the Eagles. There's a problem in Philadelphia, and I'm not going to say it because if I say it, then it's a problem. So I'll let you say it. But there is a problem here. However, I'm not going to bet that problem because, again, if I say it, it's a problem. So I'll take the under. Give me the under in the game. I think that the Rams defense you talked about has played better. I think that they can have a better showing against this Philadelphia offense. But also that Philadelphia defense is really good. Like they are really good and they get after it. And they've really, really hit their stride towards the back end of the season of really shutting teams down. And so I think that while I think the Rams can find a way to move the ball here, it's not going to be a lot. I think this is going to be an ugly, muck-it-up game. That's how the Rams want to play it. They don't want to let Saquon Barkley get loose. They don't want to let Jalen Hurts and this offense get loose. I think that the Rams make this an ugly, disgusting game and keep this one close, keep it low scoring out here in cold weather in the link. So, yeah, I like this to go under. I think this is a lower scoring game, something around the 2017 range type deal.
I think Eagles fans will be the first to tell you about the things they don't like about the Eagles. The defense has been great down the stretch here. You'd like to see a little bit more points, I think, last week. I understand the first half maybe come out a little flat, you're out of rhythm. But the second half, they really should have put up more. So I know we talked about this all week, Andrew. Never at one point did I think the Eagles weren't going to win that game. They were in control of it from pillar to post. But the Rams are very dangerous because they have experience. An experienced veteran quarterback who knows what it takes to get the job done, a Hall of Fame quarterback at that too. Let's call it what it is. A great coach, and they're playing with house money, which is a really dangerous thing. The Rams have nothing to lose; they're not supposed to be there. The Eagles last year, when there was pressure put on them, they folded, and now I think this is the most pressure they're going to see all season. How they react to it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is an upset spot potentially, but I kind of felt that way about the Packers and the Eagles last week, and I mean. Look, the Packers had opportunities, but they played one of the worst games I've ever seen, and all their guys kept getting injured. So they didn't really have an opportunity to take a shot at the Eagles, even if the Eagles didn't seem like they were really firing on all cylinders. I mean, the Eagles, it seemed like they were still trying to get out of their own way, but the Packers just kept giving them opportunities to just continue to keep a strong lead. So again, that's why I'm not picking sides either here. Again, in the primer last week, I wrote up I like the under too, and that's why I should just bet. I should just bet the under and not pick sides. So I'm trying to learn from last week. It's like, no, don't get into the weeds with this Eagles team, picking who's going to win by how many points. Just take the under in the game. That's been working because we know that the Eagles' success is about their defense. Like, that's really the identity of this team. Play defense, run the football. So I know that everyone wants to do the headlines about like Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and the receivers because those are what catches highlights, but that doesn't actually really matter when it comes to like them winning games. It's about the defense, playing defense at home, at the link. So again, I agree with Terrell where They want to muck up this game. I do think the Rams have a shot of running the football effectively with Kyron. Nakobe Dean is out for the Eagles, and he's been really effective in terms of run stopping this year. So I think that's kind of the under the radar injury that happened last week. So we know that Sean McVay is more than happy to feed Kyron Williams as much as humanly possible. And I will say to the Rams' credit as well, they've been really good in rematches this year. So they're 3-0 straight up when they face a team for the second time, and they're actually 3-0 towards the under in those games as well. So you're kind of seeing teams adjust when they play teams for a second time on both sides. And I think that this is going to be more of an offensive struggle. So agreed, especially with the under at 43.5, 44.5. I think it's good value.
All right, let's get to the last game here, and it is the marquee matchup. It's the Bills and the Ravens. I have very strong feelings about this one, and my feeling is very plain, which is I want more Ravens. I want to put the Ravens all the way to -3.5 at plus 144. That's what I want to do, because that's how confident I am in this team running amok and controlling this game and controlling this football here. I know the Bills have been a fun story. Josh Allen has done a great job with what he's been given, but I don't think it's enough to play
Second
against
team
the
Josh
Ravens
Allen
here. I'm just saying, man, look, Lamar Jackson has had the best year of his career. Derrick Henry is a man on a mission. This is their moment. This is their window. The defense has played better. Now, I want to take that with a small grain of salt because the competition on offense has not been great for this defense since they come out of the bye. Playing the Giants and the Steelers a bunch of times has not impressed me. And it was freezing cold against the Bengals. They couldn't really get any, I'm not against the Bengals, but the other matchup they played here, you're playing against the Browns and teams like that. Like, I'm not really, color me unimpressed from that standpoint, but they have done what they needed to do. And Terrell, I'm very confident that the Ravens are going to win this football game, and in the fourth quarter, we're not biting our nails. That's how I feel about it. How do you feel?
Well, I think that this is now the time for Lamar Jackson to shut everybody up. Granted, he's already won MVP. The vote's already in. So whatever happens, the MVP votes are already in. This game does not affect that. But it does in the psyche of both of these quarterbacks. And I think both of these quarterbacks are going to get after it. But I just like the Ravens team better. I think that defense is a lot better. I think the defense is really, really locked in and has now started to really find themselves. And it makes sense. I mean, you come off an offseason where you lose your defensive coordinator. He takes all these coaches and you're kind of revamping this defense and figuring out, hey, what's this identity going to be? And early on in the season, you're still trying to figure it out. Well, you play this Bills team when you haven't figured it out yet and you still held them to their lowest total of the season. Like, they can score double the points and still not have enough points to be able to handle business against the Baltimore Ravens at home this time around. So I know the home field environment and it's going to be cold and all that. Lamar Jackson and this team have played in cold games. I'm not worried about that aspect. They played on the road. They're grown men. This isn't college. Like, I think that they're going to be able to go out here, use that energy on the road, run Derrick Henry. The Bills are horrible at defending the running back, so I think Justice Hill is going to bail them out of some drives with some nice completions, and there's going to be a lot of Justice Hill in this game. I think the two tight end sets that they're going to run is really going to be confusing towards the middle of the field, and I think Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews are going to have a really good game in this game. Like, I think this is one of those games where the Ravens offense is clicking on all cylinders, and if that's clicking on all cylinders, I don't want to take my chances with this Buffalo Bills team. I really don't. I don't think that they're going to be able to match the firepower of the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah, I'm all over the Ravens here. I think this is a smash Ravens spot, and I'm looking forward to seeing a Chiefs-Ravens AFC Championship rematch.
Erickson, now's the time. Big marquee matchup. Take a stand.
I'm taking the over because both guys are worthy of the MVP in my eyes, and that's what I want to bet on because I think that neither defense is going to be able to stop either of these offenses because something I've been writing about in the primer the last 2 years when it comes to both the Ravens and Bills, and we've seen it at times where there are times that both these teams play down to their competition. They play with their food. I mean, the Ravens lost to the Raiders this season and the Browns, and the Bills were down 14-0 against the Patriots at home. So we just seen at times them have mental lapses against inferior opponents, but when it's the top tier opponent that they're playing, they show up. And that's with both of these teams. So I think you're going to get MVP performances from both of these quarterbacks. And it's going to, whoever has the ball last is going to end up winning this game. So again, I'm on the Ravens side as well. But look, I'm not going to count Josh Allen out because I think that he's also worthy of the MVP. So I think that's why I like the over as much in this game. And just the trends, if you look at it, 8 of the last 9 Ravens road games have gone over the total. And Buffalo has been home to the over all year long. They've scored 30-plus points in 10 of their last 11 games with their starters this season. And I think the thing that gives me the most confidence too is both teams are coming off unders. So, okay, we're due for some points, and the last 4 games between the Ravens and Bills have all gone under. So regression is coming, and it's coming in the form of points on Sunday Night Football. So I like the over.
All right, Sunday night should be a good one. All right, something's got to go sideways, so I got to find an upset special. I don't think it's the Texans.
Because the no upset last week was really disappointing.
It was. Look, man, look, the Chargers had every opportunity at the beginning of that game to not crap the bed, and they basically just, well, it was diarrhea. I mean, let's be honest, that's what it was there in the first half of that game, and then it didn't get better in the second half. The turnovers everywhere. So let's be honest. I mean, the Chargers could have been up 20-0 in the first half of that game if they had actually converted anything. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. Washington was the one that I thought had the best chance. That didn't happen. So let's have something go sideways this week. If something's going to go sideways, I feel like it's the Rams. I think the Rams are the team, plus 220 on the money line. Let's just go and just bet it and see if the Eagles' dysfunction finally comes home to roost. I think that's the only thing. Now, do I feel great about it? No, but it's a good number. Getting more than 2-1, I think it's worthy of a look. That's all I'm saying. Let's go to the parlay for the divisional round weekend. Let's take the Lions minus 9.5. Let's take the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line. I know it's heavy juice. Stay with me, folks. And let's take the Baltimore Ravens minus 1.5 at minus 102. You put those 3 things together, you get plus 374 right now. And that, to me, is a nice way to enjoy this weekend of football. So there you have it. That's everybody's best bets for the divisional round. What are your favorite bets? Drop them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, join us Saturday, 4:15 Eastern. Chiefs, Texans, Bogman, Pisapia. Forget the Manning cast. You want the Bogman Pisapia cast. That's the one you're looking for, because we're going to be talking betting. We're going to be watching this game the way you watch this game to try to make money off of it. You can turn down the announcers, turn us up, make us your second screen experience, and hang out with us for the first half of the Chiefs game. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson and Terrell Furman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.
Interesting. Joey's laying the points of the Lions and not the Chiefs.
What are you going to do? Things happen.